Nostalgia can be a blessing and a curse. You look back at games from your childhood and say, hey, it's been 15 years since I played this. Then you start to feel old and wonder where the years have gone, wishing you could get your childhood back. But then you forget all that doom and gloom and you pop the game in. Your face lights up as you hope it brings back all the great memories from your past. And you hope that this will be just like the first time you played it. Sadly today, that won't be the case for me. I had such a strong nostalgia boner for the Legacy of Goku trilogy on the Game Boy Advance. I remember playing through all the sagas and leveling up my characters, doing side missions, hearing the banging soundtrack, and beating the crap out of my enemies. But what I didn't remember was that those memories mostly came from the two most recent games. The very first Legacy of Goku game though, well, there's a few good reasons why I repressed those memories. Being the first game in its trilogy, it's no real surprise that it's the worst of the bunch. It's like how Uncharted 1 isn't the best game in the series, or even Crash Bandicoot 1. Games tend to get better as the franchise evolves, so it always makes sense. But in my 4-hour replay of Legacy of Goku, I can say without a doubt that this game does not hold up well. If you have never played the game before, it's a sprite-based RPG that covers the beginning of Dragon Ball Z up to the end of the Frieza saga. The story will loosely cover main parts of the Saiyan and Frieza sagas, so you won't be getting a whole lot of depth here. I mean, it's not like I expected all that much from the power of an early Game Boy Advance title, but hey, I'll tell you one thing, if I was able to watch whole ass episodes of Dragon Ball GT on my Game Boy Advance, it would be nice to see something cool come from these games. A big issue is that there's a lot of fluff in here for a very short game. The side missions that you embark on are really random, going anywhere from helping a lost cat to cleaning up Roshi's Playboy magazines. Now come on my dude, this is the first time Goku brings his son to meet you, and this shit is just out here spread on the beach. I know Roshi's a perv, but god damn it man, have some decency. A majority of these side quests are just filler content, with some of the quests being a gateway to your progress in the game. Like having to find 3 crystals for a Namekian temple just to unlock the fight with Frieza. And I'm sorry, but when the hell did Goku find the time to do puzzles while his friends were out here dying? Your son literally gets kidnapped by your long lost brother, but no, we can't focus on that until we gather rocks so an old man can cross the river. My guy, couldn't you just fly him over there real quick instead? Stuff like this breaks any of the tension of the story in the game and makes it feel like it's trying too hard to both add extra content while giving extra excuses for side quests. And believe me, without side quests, this game would have been ridiculously short. And what also would have made the game shorter was if the combat system was more fleshed out. For a Game Boy Advance game, I don't think it needs to be super complex, but you can easily boil the battles into an easy formula. Are the enemies strong? If they are, then hit them, run away or fly away, and then rinse and repeat until they die. It's simple, but after doing this for every other enemy, it gets totally boring. And what about if your enemies aren't strong? Well, if they're not, then just hit them. They'll die in like 1 or 2 punches. And after you get to certain levels, you'll be able to decimate all the enemies in an area, even if you never feel that much more powerful. What kills the combat for me the most is the fact that enemies have no reaction to your attacks. In the 2 later games, you can at least knock back your enemies or put them in a hit stun. That way you have a chance to get in a few combos and feel like you're actually overpowering your opponent. But without that knockback, all that happens is that you hit the enemy as they continue to do a Terminator walk towards you. Not only does it feel like your attacks aren't very effective, but it makes every battle in the game stale. Along your journey, you'll unlock Kai Blast, Solar Flare, and Kamehameha as your main abilities, with each one being useful in its own way. But it's highly recommended that you don't use much other than Kamehameha, but you won't even unlock that until halfway through the game anyways, which makes no sense if you know anything about Dragon Ball Z. The Kai Blasts are great for long distance, but the damage never feels good when you get to new areas. Solar Flare is simple and will stop your enemies for 2 seconds, leaving a chance to get a few hits in. Just watch out though, because you might get mollywopped after they can move again. Finally, Kamehameha has a weakness in its range, but if you can take the time to charge it, you'll deal the highest damage just from that one move. It's a double-edged sword though, because getting a fully charged attack normally doesn't happen when you get chased down by enemies, so it may end up taking anywhere from 2 to 8 attacks just to take them down. The combat in general boils down to what I'd say is a game of cat and mouse. With you having such little access to healing items and no real equipment options, all you can do is survive. They'll sprinkle herbs around the battlefield for you to use as well, but those only heal up a very small portion of your health bar. With sensu beans also being available, but again being very hard to find. You can tell this is how they planned the game to be, because outside of herbs, the main thing you'll find in boss battles is these feather orbs. For some reason, these give you the power to fly for a limited amount of time. Now at first I'd understand Goku not having flight since he used Nimbus for a decent while in the beginning of the anime, but making it so he can't fly 20 feet without running out of energy is pretty lame. The only reason I can explain this is that it balances out the combat. With you needing to, again, play cat and mouse in battles, if you could fly endlessly, nobody would ever be a threat. Even in boss battles, it is a strategy to run, find a feather orb, recharge, attack, fly away, and repeat. It's pretty lame, but the amount of other options here are pretty slim outside of grinding your ass off. Unless you like dying endlessly so you can see Goku go to heaven each and every time. I just find it funny that the developers thought this was the perfect game over screen for the game, because they could have easily chosen this pick when he dies in the Saiyan Saga, but no, gotta have my guy with the angel wings and the halo getting sent straight to the afterlife. Oh, and don't forget to save every 10 seconds too, unless you want to lose all your progress to some random enemy like a wolf. I will admit that I was a bit underleveled at the end of my playthrough, but that's even after spending an hour straight grinding through levels. And it was right before the final boss too, which sucks since it took so long, and these are the enemies that would give you the best EXP in the whole game. And again, with each enemy I'd have to play that same game of cat and mouse all over again. It was pretty sad and made the game feel that much less interesting. So after the basic story, filler side quests, and the mediocre combat, it's easy to say that looking back at this game, it was nothing but nostalgia for me. But don't get it twisted, I'm still looking forward to replaying the next 2 games in the series, but Legacy of Goku 1 left an incredibly sour taste in my mouth. I was so happy to see those credits roll because that's when I knew my suffering was finally over. Legacy of Goku is a game that I cannot recommend to anyone these days. Not only because there's a million and one other Dragon Ball Z games that are much better, but because it's not a very great game in general. But what do you think about this review of Legacy of Goku? Let me know if you agree with me or not in the comments. Subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I'll see you all in the next video.